right, so this is now the Norton Conservation Commission meeting of Monday, March 22nd, 2021, scheduled to begin at 6:30 p.m., but minor technical difficulties, so it's now 6:37. I will begin by reading the preamble that has been required for these remote meetings, which begins, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Paragraph 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right to and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the end of this agenda. Members of the public attending this public hearing/meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by raising their hand virtually or pressing *9 if participating by phone. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Norton Cable website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So at this time, we have the members of the commission participating: Jean Blood, Ronna Riley, Lisa Carosa, Carrie Schneider, Dan Pearson, and myself, Julian Kadish. We also have our conservation director, Jen Carlino, and somewhere out there, I think we have our administrative assistant, Melissa Quirk. So first, I'd like to offer an apology to all the members of the audience and our applicants for the glitch with the last meeting, in that there was an error that did not allow the public to participate. And just for clarity, no discussions concerning any items on that agenda happened, and all of those meetings were carried forward, discussed tonight, so that there was no one missed anything. And again, my apologies extended on behalf of the commission. So our first item of business is notice of intent 250-1057 Rosito Brothers concerning 253 Mansfield Avenue, map 3, parcel 722, and this is a project that has been in July of last year and most recently brought forward from our meeting on 3/8, in which we did not discuss anything. So do we have a representative of the applicant for that project?
They have requested a continuance to April 12th.
Have them present. Okay, well, we can consider a motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion to continue the public hearing for file 250-1057 to April 12th.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion made by Lisa and seconded by Carrie. So we are getting a lot of feedback I'm going to request that anybody who isn't speaking at the time needs to mute their mic when they're not speaking. Unfortunately, it may be me that's giving the feedback, but so far, no. So we're going to do a voice vote on that continuation. Lisa, you can also raise your hand and wave.
Aye.
I guess that feedback is coming from me. All right. Next is Ron.
Aye.
And Jean. And I saw Jean saying aye. Now, Dan Doyle, I just want to bring up that has now joined the meeting. And Dan, how do you vote?
I'm an aye as well.
All right. And we have Dan Pearson. Oh, your eye is backwards, Dan. You'll have to turn it upside down and in a mirror. But at any rate, Carrie is next.
Aye.
I think that was an aye. I think we got everybody. All right. So that meeting, that public hearing was continued until April 12th. Our next item on the agenda is Notice of Intent 250-1065, Leonard Street Phase 2. And as I understand it, Lisa will need to recuse.
Yes, for the record, I need to recuse.
All right. And do we have a representative? It looks like we do. Mark, and I see John is also there.
Okay. Good evening again, Mark Dibb with Condyne Engineering Group. Just a quick summary. So back in September, we submitted the application for notice of intent to build the roadway for phase 2 of our business park in Norton off of Leonard Street. In December, we had a site visit. Most of the commissioners were there for that site visit. We just discussed some questions and concerns as a result of the visit. At that time, we also began a peer review by John Chesia, your consultant. And since then, I think we got to a revision 3 from John at the beginning of last week. And I was able to submit some stuff back this morning for that revision 3. I think there was 5 items on that. If it's appropriate, we can touch on those items once I'm done. If not, we can make that determination. And we also, in the meantime, we submitted an updated Riverfront analysis by Scott Smyers at Oxbow Associates. I believe Scott's here for any questions if we need to rely on Scott. It basically showed some additional alternatives. One was our original submittal alternative. The second was our new preferred design alternative, which incorporated our as many possible suggestions at the site visit, as well as incorporated engineering concerns from the peer review. And I think the goal of the final preferred alternative was to a number of things. Reduce the limit of work, number one. We had some areas where we tried to reduce the limit of work. Also to include as much of environmental protection as possible, and to continue to provide some low impact development design for the project. And so we ultimately came up with a kind of a combination of a design that at the end of the day did have some additional structures such as catch basins and oil water separators, but I think for this type of site it's a very good way of managing oils and greases and things like that, where they can be captured in a structure like that and cleaned out when necessary, as well as still being able to provide rain gardens and infiltration basins for recharge, all that other required components of a stormwater management system that meets the standards. We also did provide a couple more alternatives. One was a relocation of the neighbor's driveway in order to try to move our roadway farther away from the perennial stream to the west. That really just results in more impacts than any other option. It's just a lot more disturbance to do all that work on both properties. And finally, we tried another alternative that, again, just tried to reduce footprint of development by removing all LID from particularly the area where we're tying in towards Leonard Street. And that just really didn't give a net benefit. So I think the preferred alternative addressed as many concerns as possible from the site visit. So finally, I guess a quick, am I able to share, Jennifer, or is that not? I just have one drawing I want to share. If that's okay.
Yep, you can share.
So this drawing, I tried to simplify it, but this was provided in the Riverfront alternatives analysis. So it's a pretty large scale, but I think if you can see the description here, these were the original swales, and I think on the site walk we noticed the edge of pavement and then out to the limit of work was almost 30 feet or 35 feet. And by removing that swale, which is kind of on a road like this, you know, there's potential for oil and water and things like that. So by removing that swale and putting a catch basin in this area, we moved the limit of work significantly in that area, as well as we were able to reduce. So in the riverfront, these red areas equal to almost 6,000 square feet of work in the riverfront that was reduced, as well as the green areas. We were able to reduce a pretty big piece, even though they look small on the screen. They're thousands of square feet each. This is a piece along outside of the riverfront, but along the riverfront, as well as these areas up and back, resulting almost in a half acre of reduced limit of work. And again, we still have some rain gardens, infiltration basins, recharge for the site is adequate. And as well, I believe we got through John Chessia's comments with a few still remaining that have not been reviewed by him, potentially. They were submitted this morning, but I believe we've incorporated some suggestions from the site visit, and believe we have a good combination of good design. At this point, I can open it up to the board or John or whoever. Any other questions I can answer?
Any questions from members of the board? Or Jennifer?
Yeah, it was submitted this morning, so I haven't had a chance to review any of it yet. I don't know if John has had a chance, or if anything that Mark just mentioned addressed his last letter. So maybe John, if there's anything else from your review number 3 that Mark didn't talk about now, maybe just bring those items up, and then we can review the information that Mark submitted this morning, later.
Yeah, I did not get a chance to look at that either. And there weren't too many things left. I mean, if you want me to sort of go through them quickly, however you want to handle it, that's fine.
Yeah, just tick off the main topics so we have an idea of how close we are.
Okay, so there's standard 1's fine. Standard 2, there were a couple of things. So the DEP requirements are that you meet the 2, 10, and 100-year storm for the rate. They provided the 25-year storm. In that one, they had a slight increase in rate, which it seems like, the commission could ask them to adjust whatever they need to adjust. They probably have to adjust an outlet very slightly to make that work and not need it. Relative to flooding, we had talked, I had asked about one of the basins, Basin 1, which is right near the intersection, is in the 100-year floodplain. So that basin basically picks up the lowest extremity of the road. So I do agree, the time of concentration for that area is going to be quite short. It's an infiltration basin, so it takes a while to drain out, but more than likely, the Canoe, based on the statistical storm, the flooding in the Canoe River watershed would be much later. That does not mean that it wouldn't happen to coincide if there was a different storm than the ones we use for analysis, just so it could happen, but based on what we use for analysis criteria, it is very unlikely that it would be flooded from the Canoe River at the same time that the water's running off the road. There were a couple of other things that maybe you could condition. There was a contour missing. Typically, you might want to inspect the soils at the basins when they're installed, but soils out there look like they're all sandy, good soils, all the test pits that were done. So moving on, standard 3, they meet that, probably exceed that by quite a bit. Standard 4, the only thing I think they need to deal with, so the basin, the intersection is the toughest place to deal with because the elevations are close to groundwater, there's not a lot of room, it's in the floodplain. So what they have is they have a forebay that then flows into a catch basin. Usually they go the other way around. But the design of a forebay, it's supposed to basically drain out through a stone filter, and what they have is it would actually have to fill up to a point to flow into the catch basin. They'll have to do some redesign on that. I think they could make something work there with some redesign. They might have to make the forebay a little bigger to get it to work. They need details for those. That specific one's a little different than the rest. There were some inconsistencies in the sizing of the bioretention basins, but my calculation said they were big enough, so it didn't matter. They meet standard 5, which is the Lupples, standard 6. So they're using the appropriate things. They're designed appropriately to work. So the bioretention areas, they do exfiltrate, but they have enough pretreatment, so they're okay. And the same sort of thing follows with the critical area. And lastly, I think on the O&M plan, the basins, there's a couple things, but the infiltration basins are supposed to have a sand bottom, not a vegetated bottom. So the O&M should reflect that, and probably every year you gotta rake out the bottom, get accumulated leaves and whatever out of it, maybe a couple times a year. It's unclear too also if this road would be accepted by the town, because usually if that's the case, DPW may want to comment on whether they'll be able to take over the maintenance. And I always recommend that there be a final sort of standalone O&M plan that's in its own little book instead of lost in a report that gets filed somewhere. So the O&M has a plan of the BMPs and all that. It's one smaller document with all the data, so that whoever's responsible can just be handed a small document that's easy to deal with. And that's about it for me.
Mark, have you sent me revised plans yet, the full size copy? Because I only have the original plans, I don't have the last revised one.
So in the response I sent today, did have some very minor edits. I'd like to just get you out of the set now, for
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Okay, and then one other question, the work in the floodplain, is that reflected in your notice of intent, page 3 application? I know some of it is temporary and some of it's permanent, but you're probably going to show that you're providing more storage, and I just want to make sure you have that documented.
I will see if that needs updating. It may need updating, but you're correct. We're actually creating more storage through the proposal.
Yep, okay. I just want to make sure it's on your plan so you get credit for it.
All right, so any questions from any members, any of the commission members concerning the additional discussion? And if not, it sounds like some of this information was just recently submitted, so we'll need to consider a continuation for this hearing for final discussion, I presume final discussion next meeting, and then issuing of an order. So if we're going to consider a motion, I'm going to ask all the commission members to take themselves off mute so we can blast through the roll call vote, because I think we can tolerate feedback during that. So unless there are further questions or discussions, we can consider a motion for continuation.
I'll make a motion to continue with April 12th.
All right, motion made by Ron, and seconded by?
I'll second.
By Dan Doyle. So roll call vote, noted that Lisa has refused. And Ron, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Dan Pearson? Dan Doyle?
Aye. Aye.
And I think that's it. I'll throw in an aye. So thank you guys. We'll, this is continued until April 12th. Our next item on the agenda is also an item concerning Condyne that Lisa will need to recuse for, and that concerns amendment to order of conditions, DEP file number 250-1025 for Condyne Engineering Group, map 11, parcel 32. This has been before us now 3 prior meetings in which we could discuss it, and then last meeting it had to be continued. So, Mark, I'm assuming you're going to be the representative for the applicant on this.
Correct. Again, Mark Dave with Condyne Engineering Group. So yes, this is the amended order for what we call Lot 3 of our Phase 1 Blue Star. We were proposing to remove the building that was proposed on Lot 3 and replace it with parking only. And I think, hopefully remember that we were pulling the pavement away from the resource areas slightly, but definitely improving impacts along those resource areas. And we basically left the last meeting with getting it reviewed by the same reviewer that previously reviewed the project, Janet Bernardo at Horsley Witten. They did the review, we responded, and I believe we have a letter saying they have no further comments on that. And if you guys have any further comments, I would like to answer any questions you have.
All right, so we can take comments from members of the commission. Anyone have any questions or comments? And so I just want to review for any audience members that if they wish to raise their hand to ask a question, there are 2 ways to do that depending on which version of Zoom you have. One is on the reaction button, in which there's a raise hand button. In another version, not present on mine, if you go to the participants list, there will be potentially an option to raise your hand. And I don't see any hands raised here. And as I understand it, we pretty much addressed all the issues that the commission may have had, and we can, if there are no hands up, we can consider a motion to close this part of the process.
Correct.
All All right, so I don't see any hands raised. And so we can consider that motion. And this concerns file number 250-1025.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing for file number 250-1025.
All right, we have a motion made by Dan Doyle and seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Carrie. So again, we're going to do a voice vote. So if all you guys can turn off your mute. So Ron, you're up first for your voice vote.
Aye.
Gene? Aye. Carrie?
Aye.
Dan? No, that's Dan Pearson, rather.
Aye.
And Dan Doyle.
Aye.
All right, I'll throw in an aye. So because of the full agenda, I think we do have an order of conditions, but because of the pressure of time, we're going to be acting on that later in the meeting. So thank you guys for coming, and our next item is item D, request to amend a determination of applicability, determination number 1103 for Christian and Feck Development, and it concerns uncertain number, but at this time 0 Reservoir Street, map 10, parcel 651. And this has been continued from the last meeting, but just to remind everybody, there was no actual discussion, and we can open that discussion now with a representative of the applicant.
It's John Brunelli. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good. It's 164 Reservoir Street now. We have an address.
Okay.
Okay, I bought the lot from Christian and Feck. And, we did. Oh, you have it? Yeah. So we just spun it around because we're trying to get the end load, mostly for safety on that corner. If you can't see, it doesn't seem that bad, but that corner is pretty bad. At least now we can back out and pull out of the driveway. The house size changed about 100 square feet, and we increased the recharge for that. RIM Engineering did. And that's basically about it. And we're inside. We're still inside. Keeping approved limit of work, we are. And that's what we're requesting.
Okay, so on this side, this is the approved plan with the wetland boundary and the buffer zone.
Sure.
The buffer zone. And then here is the edge of the building. And this is their proposed amendment. And so this is the limit of work as well. And now the house is turned that way with the deck right up against the limit of work, just so you can see the difference.
So is the deck elevated off of the second floor, or is it at ground level?
It is elevated.
It's elevated. Okay, so you'll have enough room to get some equipment or a lawnmower or something
Absolutely.
between there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, is there reservoir nearby, or is it fairly distant?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
So the wetland is about 75 feet. There's about 75 feet of the buffer zone left, it looks like, by this plan.
This is not at the edge of the reservoir then?
No, not. 92 feet off the water, I'm pretty sure. Right there is there's a line there, 92 feet to the corner of the house. Yeah, that line.
But 75 feet for the buffer zone, the limit of work.
Correct.
So Jennifer, are we requiring any posts or anything? The visual barrier?
I believe that's required.
Okay.
There's a note over here that says that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so any further questions from members of the commission? If not, we can look for members of the audience who might have raised their hand. I don't see anything on the participants list. So this has addressed all of the concerns of the commission, as I understand it.
Yes.
So this is something we can consider closing at this time.
Correct.
This is a determination, so it would be either positive or negative determination, but it appears that it would be a negative determination.
It's an amendment to the negative determination. So you have the public hearing and then just issue a letter. That's a minor modification.
So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for file DET 1103.
All right, and an amendment made by Lisa and seconded by?
Dan Doyle?
Seconded by Dan Doyle. So we can now consider a voice vote on that. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
And Jean? Aye. Carrie?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. All right, thank you guys. And we can either vote on the amendment now or later.
Well, it's an easy one, right? I'll make a motion to, well, Jennifer, are we issuing this for the first time, or it's an amendment, so it's just a letter acknowledging the plan change? Okay. So I will make a motion to accept the plan change as an amendment to DET file number 1103.
Motion made to accept the plan change by Lisa, seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jean. Roll call vote. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Jean? Aye. Dan Pearson has a thumbs up. Good. And Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And Carrie?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. All right. Thank you. And next item is notice of intent, file number 250-1072 for William Sorrow, 44 Bay Road, map 19, parcel 91. And this is a project we saw before, discussed as an abbreviated process, but not appropriate for that. And so we have a representative of the applicant. If you could, it looks like it would be Bill. If you could introduce yourself and present the project.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicant, Mr. Sarrow. Maybe Jennifer, if you could put up the rendering, I can start talking to it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, but could you put up the rendering that we sent, not just that? That's it, thank you. So, as the chairman mentioned, this project was before the commission in January, and the commission issued a positive determination and asked us to file a full notice of intent. So, subsequent to that meeting, we've prepared a full notice of intent. We had a good working session with Jennifer, who gave us a lot of good insights on things that the commission likes to see on these drawings and the issues that she thought would be important. Just as a recap, I'll just quickly go through the plan itself. So this is a single-family home. It's an existing home that was built in 1973. It's on roughly 11,400 square foot lot. It's located on the east side of Winnicott, and it's on the west side of Bay Road, right across from the cemetery. The site lies completely in the buffer zone to the inland bank. which is the resource area along the edge of the pond. It also lies completely within the 100-foot buffer zone. I'm sorry, it lies completely within the 100-year flood zone for the site. So the area of the site we're talking about is, where the home is, and where the area around the home has been previously developed and altered through a gravel driveway, the home itself, grass, lawn, decks, sheds, that type of thing. Approximately, probably about 75% of the lot itself lies within the Commission's 25-foot no disturb zone. The average elevation of the lot itself is about elevation 69. The 100-year flood zone is elevation 73.4. And 10-year flood zone is about elevation 71. We had the inland bank flagged by Pear Corporation biologists, and their report is included in an appendix to the notice of intent. So the work proposed here is the reconstruction of the existing house. So the house itself is about 23 by 27, maybe almost 700 square feet, and it's not going to be expanded. It's going to be, it is being gutted and rebuilt on the inside. On the outside, though, some additional work will be done. It triggers work for review by the Commission. The first is that several trees were actually cut down last fall, and we show them on the drawing. We show them as three. There's three different stumps, so three areas, the three stumps that we found when it was done. In addition to that, the gravel driveway, we'd like to turn that into a paved driveway, create a patio out back, and expand the deck so that it wraps around the house, not just on the west side of the house, but on the west side and the south side. So the left side and bottom as you look at the plan here. The deck itself is going to be at the first floor. It's the deck, there was a deck there. We don't really know the size of it, but we did locate all the piers that the deck sat on, and they run along the back of the lot, or run along the back of the house, in the back of the lot from the whole length of the house itself. And we showed them on an existing conditions plan that we've added to the plan set. There were some comments made during the request for determination, some requests for additional remediation for the site, which we've accomplished. We've added to this drawing. The first one was the original design had the parking area is just an impervious area, and we've changed that to permeable pavers for both the parking area as well as the patio in the back. Some additional details were added, including the what the sonotubes are going to look like that hold up the deck. The deck will be at the first floor, approximately 3 feet above the existing ground level here now. One of the other items was, Jennifer pointed out that the outdoor air, anything in the outdoor utilities, which in this particular case would be a backup generator and the AC unit or the compressor, had to be elevated above the floodplain. So we've had the architect put together a detail of that, and that's actually on the detail sheet 2. It shows that we're doing that. We, in our notice of intent, we talked about some of the other mitigation that we're doing. The first would be that the site is a single-family home, so it is exempt from the DEP stormwater standards. However, recognizing the sensitivity of this area, the roof drains are going to be connected into a roof drain infiltration system located to the northeast of the existing house, and that will recharge the gutters, all of the roof runoff in that area. In addition to that, we had some comments based on the original design. Jennifer was nice enough to forward them to us, so we had a chance to make changes based on, I guess, some comments that the Commission had forwarded by email. And so we've We did another modification last week and filed that last week. And those things included adding an existing conditions plan. That's the first sheet 1A in the packet that was sent. As I stated, we went out and we located the deck piers that are there so that you could see that actually the new piers are in the almost the exact same area as the old piers, with the exception that there is one additional pier. There is an existing pier located on to the north off the end of the house. That pier is going to be removed because the new deck is not going to be going that far out. So it would actually be less piers in that portion. We did a restoration plan. We had Pear, the biologist, Lauren Gluck, who's the wetland biologist for Pear, do a restoration plan along the top of the bank and in a few other areas on the lot. As Jennifer's showing you through there, it's a combination of the heavy shading of trees, and they're a combination of maples, maples and oaks, and then the green ones along there, the heavier green, those are standard shrubs, and they're a combination of dogwoods and high bush blueberries. And then the lighter ones are low shrubs, sweet ferns, and New Jersey teas, and broadleaf meadow sweeps. And again, those were done by Lauren at Pear. And I couldn't even tell you what they were, so that's why I'm reading off the plans, because she did the planting plan. And then one of the other items that we did is a request for an O&M plan for the pervious pavers. So I added that to sheet 2. That was taken right out of the DEP stormwater manual on their recommendations on how to do maintenance on pervious pavers. And I think I'll stop there, Mr. Chairman, and answer any questions.
Right. Well, I don't see any reference to septic or sewer. I assume this is served by connection to a sewer line. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. It's there's a sewer connection, and wherever it is, it will remain where it is.
All right. Any questions from our director or members of the commission?
What's
So
the
this,
divider between the driveway and the patio that I'm looking at? Yeah, that right there.
Thank you for asking me that. I should have mentioned it. That is a rain garden that we put in there, and that will capture the runoff, any runoff that does come off the driveway from the pervious pavers. That is a rain garden that will be between the two patio and that, and the details for that, again, are on sheet 2. And the details pretty much come out of the DEP stormwater standards as far as the construction of it, the area required, and the plantings in there.
Jim, I might be looking at an old plan. Are they still showing the 3 metal posts?
This is the latest plan on the screen, so yes, it only shows metal posts, not the post and rail fence that you typically require.
Okay. Did you discuss that with the applicant?
No.
Okay. So those were going at the top of bank anyway, so do we think that's sufficient in this case, or would we? I mean, it's pretty obvious where the break and slope is for the top of bank, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, so in this case, it's not like they're going to dump anything over the. I mean, typically we require that at the edge of a wetland if it's a long expanse, so they know where they know where the drink is, but they think it's pretty obvious in this case. So, I mean, I think the posts are fine in this situation.
And do you think 3 are adequate, or, I mean, I see 1. Bill, can you let me know where the other 2 are? Is this one?
Yeah, Bill, you're muted for the moment.
So then the question becomes, do we need them at all if we're only going to put 3? Because ideally you'd put them along the entire length, which is a little bit obnoxious, I think.
I would suggest putting a couple certainly over here.
Where it's closest.
Likely things might get cut accidentally in the future.
Okay.
So to answer your question, Jennifer, down by that 15-inch pine, to the left of the driveway, I know it's in that area, it's hard to see. It's to the left of that, and then up north.
Oh, right here.
And up north near Wetland Bank, out A11, right near, right in there, that's exactly right. So we put them in these areas. I mean, this looks huge. This looks huge as we're looking at it on a drawing, but I mean, from top to bottom, this is probably 75 feet, maybe 100 feet from the shed to that wetland bank, A11. So, I mean, it's not a lot. And, you know, these are homeowners. They live there. They know an extra sign is not going to change them. And you were right when you said, you know, it would be obnoxious. I mean, people purchase these places in order to take in the beauty of the pond to sit on their deck.
Yeah, and the underscored issue is that I would hope anyone who owns that property realizes that you can't just go ahead and start filling in Winnicott Pond to expand your lot. So that's the key issue.
Well, in cutting down vegetation, I get that.
Well, yes, the edge of that lot is kind of a no-touch zone, and that comes with the territory.
What I didn't point out is that is an armored. We show it as a boulder wall. You can kind of see it shaded out top to bottom. It's really an armored slope. It's an armored slope, and it's big, large boulders either put there when they created the lot or to stop erosion. I mean, it's not, you're not, and it's quite a drop. I mean, like I said, the top of the grade in that lot is approximately elevation 69, and I think the water level, well, it says it there somewhere what the water level was on the day we took it, but it's several feet down, so it's about probably elevation 64-ish. So it's a 5-foot drop in a very short area. It's not going to be filled in. It's impossible. The purpose of the boulder wall is obviously to stabilize the bank.
Yeah, so that area, I think, of the lake is, or the pond, is under constant assault from winds coming on shore. So that means during really windy days, the waves come on shore. So it wouldn't last if you tried to fill in around that area. It would just get washed away.
Okay, so the 3 posts are sufficient. I guess that's the bottom line, Jen.
That's the question for the commission, yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think it should be sufficient, just as long as they're aware that the edge of bank is not to be altered.
Okay.
So I think we have all the information we need for this hearing, unless I've overlooked something, and we can consider then
one thing. Describe the metal post.
I don't know.
There should be a detail.
5-foot metal aluminum marker and a 5-foot metal post. Do you have something that you'd like to use?
Well, whatever it is should be in the ground at least 2 2.5 feet in concrete, not one of the garden posts that can easily be kicked over or moved. It's supposed to be permanent.
Just an idea, but I'd recommend using a standard signpost, so 1 3/4 inch square or a 2-inch square. And, I'm sure you can find them smaller than 10 foot, but 10 foot's a standard size. And that's galvanized steel.
Okay, so we'll make that a condition, Jennifer, because I don't see a detail on the plan, so somebody building it wouldn't know what to price out and put in, so we'll make that a condition.
All right, if there are no further items now, again, any audience members who wish to ask a question, they need to raise their hand either by going to the reactions button or the participants list, and just scanning participants list. I do not see any hands raised. That being the case, I think we can consider a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, file number 250-1072.
Motion made by Lisa to close the public hearing and seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Dan Doyle. We'll do a roll call vote so everybody can come off mute. Starting with Ron.
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
Dan Pearson.
Aye.
Dan Doyle.
Aye.
And Carrie.
Aye.
And I think we have Jean over there too.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So our next item is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, file number 250-1073 for Al Andriunos of 154 Pine Street. And do we have a representative of that applicant?
Yes, Claire Hogebone with LEC Environmental Consultants representing the applicant.
All right, if you could just present the details of the plan.
Sure. I shared a PDF with Jennifer, so Jennifer, if it's easier for... Great.
Just takes a second.
Yeah. Great, appreciate that. So, perfect. So I'm just having Jennifer share a couple of the figures that we had in our application, just to go over a bit of the site details. So we're here for an ANRAD application to confirm the boundaries of bordering vegetated wetlands, isolated vegetated wetlands, and isolated land subject to flooding. There are some potential vernal pools on site, which we'll get into, but the confirmation of those boundaries are not included with this application. So on the screen that we see before us, we have the USGS topographic map. The site is outlined in red. The site is comprised of 5 separate parcels that cumulatively total 136 acres. And as you can see on the USGS topography map, there is a pond shown in the western portion of the site, but otherwise no mapped intermittent or perennial streams are located on site. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the aerial that's shown that you can see the parcel boundaries a bit better on here. And as you can see, the site is largely undeveloped. It contains forested upland, forested wetlands. We can see the pond a little more defined. And in that southernmost portion of the site, we have an existing degraded single-family dwelling along with some meadow habitat around there as well. On to the next one. Great. I just want to share this very briefly. This is the current Fema map for the site, and as you can see, there's no 100-year floodplain map on the site, so we don't have any bordering land subject to flooding. And we'll get on to that last one, which is my artistic debut. I made an attempt to show the approximate wetland boundaries that we delineated on the aerial. I just know the plans that we submitted, there's a lot of sheets and they're kind of separated out. So I was hoping to show everybody just an overview of where the wetlands are on the site. So we have 4 bordering vegetated wetlands on site. Jennifer's cursor is over one very large bordering vegetated wetland that borders on the pond. And I guess just sort of backtracking a little bit, the green line work does show the wetland boundaries, but you can also see some blue circles with black dots within them. Those are mapped potential vernal pools by Natural Heritage. So all in all, we have 10 mapped potential vernal pools on site. They're all located within either bordering or isolated vegetated wetlands on site that were delineated. So we did at least flag around those vernal pools in some capacity. So again, we have the 4 bordering vegetated wetlands, that large centrally located one. We have another one with 3 potential, the cursor's on top of another one.
I know which way you're going first.
We have the one that the cursor's on currently has 3 potential vernal pools in it. That extends from an off-site bordering vegetated wetland to the north. And then there's another finger to the west of that. That's a part of that same wetland system. And the last bordering vegetated wetland is in the southernmost portion of the site, just south of the dwelling there. It kind of looks like a small isolated feature, but there is a stream channel that flows off-site into that pond. Otherwise, there are all of those isolated vegetated wetlands on site. We have 9 in total. And I believe that's really it as far as like the delineated boundaries we have on site. So I did mention the isolated land subject to flooding earlier. We did note one isolated vegetated wetland that appeared to meet the criteria for ILSF. It's that northernmost one that's kind of going off-site a bit. Jennifer did note to me at one point that the commission typically would request that applicants run the calculations for any isolated features just to determine that they do or do not meet ILSF criteria. So that is something we haven't run the numbers yet, but I figured we would start running those numbers after we confirm with Jennifer that all of the wetland boundaries are acceptable before we spend time doing that in case we did end up moving any flags or changing the status of any wetlands. And I think that's about it. Jennifer and I did schedule some time to get out to the site together in a couple of weeks to review any wetland boundaries once she's finished up her review. So we do have that scheduled to try to solidify all of the wetland lines. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions from the commission or any abutters.
All right, so any, actually first, Jennifer, it says in our notes that you're in the process of completing the inspection, and it's kind of a big area, so where are you with that?
Actually, I'm almost done. I just have this one. When I went out there, the flags almost looked like they were not quite a mirror image, but opposite of the survey. So that was something that Claire and I were going to go out and look at. And then I just have this one and all the vernal pools to look at.
All right, so any questions from members of the commission?
I just have a couple. So Claire, how many isolated vegetated wetlands did you flag?
We flagged 9 vegetated wetlands.
Okay, so you're going to run the calcs on all 9. The one comment I had and maybe request is, if we dive right into these plans, I was hoping to have an overall plan, maybe at, I'm looking at, this is 40 scale. I was hoping for an overall cover sheet on it, maybe at 500 scale or some scale that will fit on the, what size these are, D size. that would be helpful.
Okay, that's something I can ask the engineer if he can prepare just like a cover sheet.
Right, at whatever scale it works
Aerial,
out to be. Yeah, so that we can just identify, looking at one sheet where things are. That would be really helpful.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
All right, any other questions from members of the commission? And just to remind members of the audience, if they wish to ask a question, you can do that in two ways, depending on your version of Zoom, either through the reactions button where there's a hand raise option, or in the participants list there in some versions is a hand raise. And I'm scanning the participants list. I do not see any hands up. So this is kind of a big project still in progress. So this is something we will need to continue. And we can consider unless there are hands up or questions, we can consider that motion.
Do we want it, Claire, are you okay with the 12th of April?
I was actually even considering, since Jennifer and I scheduled 2 weeks out from now, a little over from now, maybe it would make sense to continue to the second meeting in April, so we have enough time to make any plan revisions and give you all enough time to review ahead of the meeting.
Okay, so the 26th works then.
26th, great.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for file number 250-1073 to the April 26th meeting.
All right, we have a motion made for continuing this to April 26th, and I heard a second from somebody. Where was that?
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Dan Pearson. So
I'll
roll
second.
call vote. Roll call vote. Dan Pearson, you're in a higher orbit. It takes a little while to get your voice back. So how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, Lisa.
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
And Jean? Aye. And I'll throw in an aye. So thank you. We're going to move on to our next item, which again is it looks like it's a request for continuation until 4/12. That's concerning notice of intent file number 250-1070, White Oak Chair Corporation for the Eddy Street project, requesting a continuation until 4/12. We can entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Lisa and seconded by?
I'll second.
Sounds like Dan
Second.
Pearson seconded. And so Dan Pearson, throw in your aye or nay.
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Aye.
Not quite to Mars, but almost. Lisa?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So our next item is notice of intent file number 250-1040. Speaking of tax time, Michael Trowbridge of Hutchins Trowbridge Associates, 306 to 308 East Main Street. This has been continued starting in April of 2019 through 2020, and now again requesting a continuation until 4/26. We can entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion to continue file 250-1040 to 4/26.
Motion made by Dan Doyle and seconded by?
Second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Lisa.
Second.
So we'll give Dan a head start. So how do you vote, Dan? And Lisa?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got him. Ron?
Aye. I gotta mute.
Doyle?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
And I'll do an aye. All right, our next item is request for an extension, file number 250-976, Reton College, 26 East Main Street. for their aquatic management program to control nuisance vegetation. And this is kind of a routine thing. They actually come before us when they have a specific plan to treat. Is that correct?
Correct. They have a wetland permit. They would just like some more time to add some additional wetland plants to the area where they've removed the Phragmites.
Okay. So it sounds like.
Mr. Chairman, I'll.
Are they asking? Hold on. Are they asking for 1 or 2? 3? What? What are they asking for?
They didn't say, but Naomi is on the call.
Oh. Have we extended in the past?
Oh, sorry. I think this is Naomi Valentine. I think you're still on item I of the agenda, though, right? Wheaton College.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, were you asking that?
So we're both jumping around.
So I'm not representing for that one. I'm not sure who here is.
Oh.
Sorry.
All right. Well, but
That's okay.
this can be.
Well, it can be in 1 year increments, 1, 2, or 3, up to 3 years. So I just don't know what they're asking for. Have they gotten an extension in the past?
No.
Oh, okay. So I guess we should extend it for 3?
You can.
Okay. Okay, so Dan, that should be your motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will finally make a motion to extend the maintenance permit for Wheaton College, file 250-976 for 3 years as suggested.
All right. Motion made by Dan Pearson and seconded by.
Gary.
Seconded by Carrie. So roll call vote. We'll start with Lisa. How do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
I'll throw in an aye. And Dan Pearson. And Dan Doyle.
Aye.
We got stereo ayes and Carrie?
Aye.
Gene? Aye. So that extension carries. Our next item is item J, request for an extension 250-1009 for Tournament Players Club Boston. And they also are requesting Phragmites control program. And so this is okay to extend and is suggested to be 2 years.
Well, now it's the correct time to ask Naomi.
Okay, there we go.
So since speaking with the applicant, TPC Boston, I did find out that there was a small amount of sprouting of new Phragmites in a previous wetland replication area. So originally I reached out to Jennifer because we would like to bolster some of those previous Phragmites areas with some plug plantings. They have actually filled in pretty well and management has gone exceptionally well. But we just want to really eliminate or reduce the possibility of them respreading as much as possible. So that was the original request for just a 1 year extension. If we are allowed, if the commission finds it a minor enough change to add this new small area, this wetland replication area, it wasn't in the original NOI, it hasn't been previously managed, then it might be more efficient to request a 2 year extension so that we can get 1 or 2 rounds of similar management to make sure that that Phragmites in the center of the course doesn't spread out.
So Jennifer, okay, I was going to say, do they give something for the file so that we can track that additional area?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I would make a motion. I'll make a motion to issue a 2 year extension for order conditions 250-1009.
Motion made by Lisa to extend the Phragmite or the order of conditions for the Phragmites control program for 2 years. Do we have a second?
Second.
Let's see. I'm going to give it to Ron. I'm not sure who seconded, but I think it was Ron. So a roll call vote. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And Carrie?
Aye.
And I no longer see Dan Doyle. I don't know if he accidentally got lopped off, but the motion carries. I'll throw in an aye as well. And our next item
Thank you all.
is certificates of compliance.
Correct.
We got it, Dan. All right, so there's a request for a partial or full certificate of compliance. Initially, a full certificate of compliance for DEP file number 250-1035, Condyne Engineering Group. And there have been so many, so this is restricted to the reconstructed road. So that would be Leonard Street itself?
Correct. Just Leonard Street.
Okay. And there are no wrinkles, issues, anything further? This is fully in compliance?
Correct.
So we can consider a motion. And I know,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make.
all right, so I think Gene made the motion, and Dan, you can second it.
Second.
All right.
Second.
And I think, I'm assuming, Lisa, you have to recuse from this vote?
Abstain. You abstain from a vote.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, that's right. We got it. Another 2 years, I'll get it. But how do you vote, Ron?
Aye.
Dan Pearson, and I'll take Gene also.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Carrie?
Aye.
That was an aye. All right, so I think Dan Doyle has fallen off the meeting, and so that motion carries. As the roll call vote, that indicates our signatures. Is that correct, or will we need to sign this separately?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay. Next certificate of compliance, full certificate of compliance is for file number 250-1031, Robert Burke, at 41 John Scott Boulevard. And this is the plan concerning the single-family house, the driveway, the retaining wall, and that seems to be complete and in good order, ready to issue.
That's correct.
And we can continue, we can consider a motion.
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP number 250-1031.
Second.
A motion made by Ron and seconded by, I didn't catch who.
Me, Lisa.
Lisa, okay. So roll call vote. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Dan Pearson and Gene?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we got two ayes there, and Carrie.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So that motion carries. Again, our voice vote signifies our signatures on that certificate of compliance. And a partial certificate of compliance for file number 250-570, 3 Somerset only.
Correct. That's the
Okay, so
overall
this-
sewer connection plan for everyone around Winnicott. And so once we finally have everybody with a partial certificate, then we can do the full over the whole thing.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
so this is for 3 Samoset. So we should be specific in the vote. Okay. I guess I'll make that motion then.
Motion made by Lisa to issue the certificate for 3 Somerset only.
Yeah, a partial for, 250, 570 at 3 Samoset, because the next one's the same file number. Okay, I got it.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded by.
Second.
We have a seconded by Ron. So roll call vote. Lisa,
Aye.
Ron,
Aye.
Dan Pearson, and Gene,
Aye.
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and Dan Doyle has rejoined the meeting.
I'm back. Yes, aye.
Okay, very good. And the next commercial certificate of compliance also is file number 250-570, but a different residence, 57 Bay Road only for residential and sewer tie-in. So this is okay to issue. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance for DEP file number 250-570 for 57 Bay Road.
All right, motion made by Ron and seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Gene. Roll call vote. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So we have draft minutes. That would be February 22nd. And it looks like all members of the commission were present on that meeting. Any questions, comments, corrections on that one?
No, I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of February 22nd, 2021.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion made by Lisa, seconded by Dan Pearson. Roll call vote. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Gene? Yeah. And Ron?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And Carrie?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And then the next was an abbreviated set of minutes, as we couldn't conduct official business on Monday, March 8th. And I don't think there was, from my look at it, there was really nothing that we needed to comment on or correct. So we can consider a motion on that one.
Make the motion.
I'll make the motion to accept those minutes.
All right, so we had Lisa beat you, Dan, by just a hair. So motion made by Lisa, seconded by Dan Pearson. Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ron? I saw that's an aye. And Dan Pearson? And Gene?
Aye.
Aye.
Gary?
Ron was absent.
Oh, Ron was absent on that one? Doesn't matter, we were all absent.
No, well, I mean, Ron, Dan, and Carrie were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna abstain because I wasn't there.
All right, so, but we still have, I think we had 4 votes. I'll throw in a vote to accept that. And our next item, we have right of first refusal concerning the land around Daggett, Crandall, Newcomb home, concerning map 5 lot 24 and map 5 lots 25, 26, 27, and 28. So this is a parcel on the intersection of Newcomb Street and Newland Street.
Correct. Red Mill Road is right up here.
Right. And Red Mill Road, of course, is not an official town road. I don't believe it's paved.
Correct. These lots have already been developed with houses, so they're looking for this one lot, and then I'm just gonna move down. That's that one, and then all of these.
So there are 5 contiguous lots, right? Or
Correct.
abutting lots, yeah. Is the larger parcel in there that's been subdivided? Is there anything on there?
Not yet.
Yeah, that's all meadowland, as I understand it.
I think it's forested. The meadow, this was a meadow, it's now a cemetery. This was a meadow over here. I mean, you could be right, but I think this is
Well, I
forested.
think,
Maybe the meadow. is the
I
property.
think you're right, the portion, but the large lot, I think is maybe a meadow. It used to be a meadow. It may have filled in over the years.
So the sale price on this that they're looking for is 185. Jim? I'm sorry, lot 24.
I just have to pull out the paper.
Oh, so it's 185,000. I think that was written in the P&S.
Yep, correct. And then the other 4 lots together were
700,000.
700.
Yeah. So I mean, I was tooling around online looking at these, looking to see, you know, are there any endangered species? Is there any flood zone? Is it in a groundwater protection district? Is it contiguous to anything else we own?
Yeah, it is near the wells right behind Red Mill Village.
Yep.
Unfortunately, because it's all upland, I believe. Is that correct? And it abuts the road. It's just got a astronomical retail development value that's going to be hard for us to compete with.
Yeah, I think if it were contiguous to something that we owned, to enlarge it, or it had some value in terms of, you know, wildlife habitat or something like that, it would be.
Unfortunately, Lisa just got zapped by the electronic monster. But, you know, continuing with her thought, this is upland, I think predominantly pine forest area from what I recall. I don't know if it's all pine now, but I mean, what's other thought about this?
So is this, I'm trying to figure out exactly where, is this near where the cell tower is? Like, right?
Yeah.
The water road? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. How could this compete with the other items coming up as far as Norton debt exclusion goes? Or shouldn't we be thinking in those terms?
I mean, you can certainly have that as part of your consideration. But usually the focus is on the value of the property and whether it furthers your open space goals.
Well, the one thing negative as far as the open space goes is all of these lots abut the street. So they're not really going to be, I mean, it's not my view of open space to have cars adjacent going by 24/7. So that's one thing that would make me not favor this as specifically spending money for open space. So this requires a vote, yes? A vote for a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen?
Correct.
So I think we will need either discussion as to whether this is going to be worthy of recommending that it be floated at town meeting, or I'm kind of would not be optimistic myself, but you know, whatever other members would prefer.
What was your idea for parking? Or was that going to be more parking for just that area if we were to make it trails, or?
It's actually different property that Daggett Crandall owns. So it's not these lots. So you could use this as an opportunity to contact them and say we are interested in other property or other portions of other property that you own, and maybe open up a dialogue with them about that.
Okay.
Yeah, but not these parcels that are up now.
Okay.
So, Lisa, not a whole lot has happened since you were snatched away. We're still discussing whether these lots that are adjacent to the street would be ideal as open space or not. But the other lots you were talking about really border on Red Mill Road, was it? Further away from normal street activity?
Correct. Yep.
And that I think I could embrace better than these myself. So then with regard to these, what would be the consensus? So we talked about the value for the, 4 or 5 lots contiguous was 700,000, and then that one other lot is 150, or what was it?
185.
185, okay. So that's a fairly large amount of money to try to compete for open space.
Yep.
So I'm inclined, because it's not directly contiguous, to say no, but I'm willing to entertain any motion people want to make.
Yeah, I would make a motion. I guess we have to do this individually, Jen?
I don't think so. I think you can do them together.
Okay, so is it to refuse?
You would not recommend exercising the right of first refusal.
Yeah, and it would be for lots 24 through 28 on map 5.
Okay, well, that's my motion.
All right. Motion made by Lisa and seconded by?
I'll second.
I think Gene got the second, so roll call vote. Well, Dan Pearson, you can throw in your vote whenever it gets here, and Ron?
Aye.
Gene? And we got Dan's eye in there, and Carrie, and Dan Doyle,
Aye.
and Lisa.
Aye.
All right, I'll throw in an eye as well. So old business, any items there?
We don't have anything to discuss there.
All right, and then any unusual new business?
Well, you would just, nope, not for new either. Just ratify the last meeting's open session where we talked about 250, 1032, and the conservation restriction. You signed the municipal certification for their conservation restriction. It's just ratify the vote.
Okay, so we need a motion for that?
Correct.
Looking for that motion. Lisa, you look like you want to give a motion.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever done a ratify vote motion, but I guess I'll try it here.
All right, for file number 250-1032, 213 Oak Street, we're going to ratify the signatures of the Conservation Restriction Municipal Certification Form. And we need a second.
I'll second.
Motion made by Lisa, seconded by Gene. And so you got here late, but you can throw in your eye. It looks like you got an eye there. Excellent. Ron?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And Lisa?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an eye. And that comes to the end of the agenda, except we now have all those wonderful orders of conditions. Can we act on any of those? Did we get to that point? Or not?
Just one, right? Oh,
Yep, it looks like 1025. 250, 1025.
1025. 1025?
I thought it's 253 Mansfield Avenue, or that was continued.
Yeah, 1025 is the one for Condine.
Well, that's why I looked at music. Okay.
Letter C.
Yeah.
All right. Nice short one, huh? Okay. So we have all the strike-throughs, which are the corrections because of transfers. Is that what happened?
Yep, there are things that you can cross off or strike from the order because in the beginning we were issuing all of those lots at the same time and it was unclear who would be taking care of things. Some things have already been completed, so you can just remove those. And then the ownership is changed, so correcting the ownership and then making any corrections if there were changes in alteration amounts. And revising the operation and maintenance plan.
Okay. All right, so it actually is a relatively limited number of changes.
Correct.
So any questions? Remember, the commitment is straightforward, so I think we can entertain a motion to issue the amended order. But we'll need a...
I'll make the motion to issue the amended order of conditions for file number 250-1025.
All right, motion made by Dan Doyle and seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Carrie. So roll call vote. We'll give you a running start. Dan Pearson and Ron.
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
And we got an aye from Dan. Gene? Aye. Carrie?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And an abstention from Lisa?
Abstain. Yep.
And I'll throw in an aye. So that item is amended order carries. And any further items?
Let's see. The amendment to the determination of applicability is just a letter. That's fine. You did close 44 Bay Road, but there's no draft order. And wait.
We need 253 Mansfield.
Well, 253 Mansfield, I thought that got...
We continued that, didn't we?
That was continued.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But 44 Bay Road?
Right, without a draft though.
You have a draft?
No, I don't think we have a draft with us, do we?
You don't have a draft.
No. So hold off on that until the next meeting.
Can't. It'll be more than 21 days and you close the public hearing. So,
Attachment E.
you can vote on it. I'm assuming that you're going to approve it. And then I'll draft the order. I'll have to send it to you and then individually just let me know if you have any comments or edit. But we have to issue within 21 days. We have to issue before the next. But you can vote on it and I'll send you the draft.
All right, so we discussed on the key points, and there's gonna be, there are gonna be markers, I assume there are gonna be, siltation barriers. Any other specific items that will be in the order?
Well, yeah, anything, all the work in the floodplain, so you have the operation and maintenance plan.
Yeah, maybe just the, I know they're gonna be pouring some slurry for the solar tubes, so maybe concrete washout.
Yep.
They're actually fairly small. They may be mixing that on site and not have a machine.
Yeah, but either way, they'll be rinsing stuff out on site. But, and I think there's a number of them, aren't there? Anyway.
I thought it was 3, I think.
That's one of our boilerplate conditions.
Okay.
I'm not concerned with that one.
Okay, so I'll make a motion then to, accept an order pending review, individual review.
Well, I think you're approving the permit. You're approving the project.
Okay.
And subsequently, we will approve the orders of conditions.
That can just be your motion to approve the project.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the project then at 44 Bay Road for 250-1072.
All right, motion made by Lee. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Carrie. So voice vote. We'll start Dan Pearson and then Ron.
Aye.
And we have an aye from Dan Pearson and Keith.
Aye.
And Carrie. And Bob.
Aye.
And Lisa.
Aye.
I'll throw in an aye. All right, so we can expect the and we will move individual votes back to Jeff.
Yeah, they won't be votes because you've already voted. It's just that you know, if you have any edits or comments on the draft board.
All right, so if there is no further business, we can consider a motion to adjourn, and we'll do that by a thumbs up or down.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Dan Doyle and seconded by?
Second.
All right, so aye.
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 Good night, everybody.
Aye.
Thank you.
Not as horrible as it's going to be.